Today is question and answer day. I'm here in my cul-de-sac. Yes, it's trash day. I don't normally just leave this stuff out front, but have some people looking at maybe making a move up here from South Florida. And they sent me some questions and I started working on them. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna make a video for them and I'll make it generic enough that I can post it for everybody. And so let's go. I'm gonna hop in. He's got 13 questions on here, and then he texted and he had a couple more as well. So we're gonna go through a bunch of questions here, but if he's thinking about them, then you're probably thinking about them too, or maybe they've crossed your mind, at least one of these. So let's just hop in. And I'm looking at the first one here, and he says, what made you go from Nocatee to Beacon Lake again? And so we had spoken in the past, and I shared with him that, yeah, we moved here in January 2013 or December, I think we closed, of 2012. And we lived in Greenleaf Village in Nocatee, and it was amazing, and we loved Nocatee. And then about 4 or 5 years ago, I guess it's 2018 in December, we moved, but we went under contract here in Beacon Lake on this house right here behind me. Back in, gosh, I guess it would have been sometime maybe mid 2017. I think it took 16 months to build the house. This was all dirt. There was no pavement, no roads, nothing here. And these guys over here, they were customers of mine, and they bought this house. And at the time, this lot was available in this cul-de-sac. I'm like, man, that looks amazing. The lot looked amazing. And to buy this same thing in Nocatee at the time, it was going to be $80,000, maybe $100,000 more than I was able to get this for at this time. And so that's the start of the answer for that question. Just for us in particular, this is several years ago in 2017, a completely different market at the time, but we were living in Nocatee, and we'd lived there for, 6 years or so. And it was amazing. We loved Nocatee, and we had like little kids when we moved here. We moved here from overseas, and Nocatee was really growing. It was really cool. Greenleaf Village, we had the first of those K-8 academies that they're building all over St. John's now. Valley Ridge Academy had just opened up. When we first moved there, the kids were going to Ocean Palms and Landrum, which is what this neighborhood's zoned for. As of today, that is changing in August. But our kids were going to Ocean Palms and Landrum, amazing schools. And then a brand new school opened up in our neighborhood. That was super cool. We loved that. And so our kids probably 2nd and 4th grade, something like that. And then they came up all the way through Valley Ridge through 8th grade. And it was amazing. But just our kids, so this is to answer the question, why did we move from Nocatee to Beacon Lake? One was this lot was available in particular, cul-de-sac, only trees behind it. It's like 1/3 of an acre. It was an amazing opportunity just for the home site to build on. And then we loved the floor plan and all that kind of stuff. We got a good deal. And so that was a big chunk of it. Sort of related, number 2, when we bought in Nocatee, I didn't know what the heck we were doing. We moved from overseas. We moved to Nocatee. And at the time, I think our budget was $250,000, and we ended up spending $264,000 if I recall. And for us to go from, we had a back-to-back lot, so we backed up to another house, and for us another opportunity was like $9,000 more. So only $9,000. $9,000 more. We could have been on preserve, but we're like, we're already over budget, $9,000, let's just do the back-to-back. And interior lots back-to-back is fine. Fast forward though, we decided we want a pool, and all the houses behind us were 2-story homes. So at that point, it was kind of like, do I really want all the neighbors to see me in my Speedo? Maybe they wouldn't look as much then. But we just didn't feel like we had the privacy that we wanted for a pool. And so that's kind of what started the wheels turning. We started to think about a pool, got the wheels turning, and that's why when we were looking, when you're actually looking for something, you see the opportunities come up. And that's when we noticed this and decided to move. So we wanted to have our own pool, and how that connects to the kids too is just our kids weren't really into the Nocatee thing anymore. They weren't really into going to the pools and the spray parks. Neither of our kids going into middle school were all that social at the time. And so it just having our own pool made more sense, and the opportunity presented itself here for a great lot with a pool and privacy and all of that. The price was right, and so all the stars aligned, and we decided to make the trek from all the way over that way, like as the crow flies, maybe a mile. We moved all the way over here to our current house in Beacon Lake. No regrets. We love it. But there's a lot of cool things about Nocatee too. And I think just from having skimmed through the questions that, or we're going to cover a lot of those things, as well as we're comparing some of Beacon Lake here to Seabrook in Nocatee, and some of the other just disadvantages of Nocatee, Beacon Lake, and being in the same general vicinity here. Nocatee and Beacon Lake are very, very, very close to each other. Like I said, we moved like a mile maybe to be here. But anyways, that's the big reason. That's why we moved 5 or so years ago from Beacon Lake to Nocatee, and everyone has different reasons. In the preamble to that question, he had mentioned that he had noticed on some internet forums and some other places, maybe Facebook, that there were quite a few people selling in Nocatee and moving over here. So I don't know if that's the trend. I don't know if that's the experience. That's what he was seeing. So, you know, there could be some rumblings of that. Anyways, I'll stop with that one right there, and we will move on to question number 2. Question number 2, is Beacon Lake a golf cart community like Nocatee? The answer is no, it is not. And I almost hesitate to put a little extra condition on that. There are people that have golf carts and they operate them here in the neighborhood. The caveat is, as I understand it, that, and it seems like the legal stuff on this changes all the time, but they got to be street legal. And so, man, for a long time, golf carts were really expensive. And in my opinion, they still are. But I have noticed that there's been more and more people selling their golf carts. And I think that is because for a while, you could just get like your general typical golf cart, and you could drive it on the roads with no problem. And then they started cracking down a little bit on all that kind of stuff. So, and I've seen a lot of people putting their golf carts up for sale. And so the price is coming down on them a little bit. And so that makes it more affordable for the Nocatee people, where it is completely a golf cart community. There are intentional trails and bridges and boardwalks and areas where you can actually take your golf cart and get from one place in Nocatee to any other place in Nocatee. You can go through the Wendy's drive-through, you can go to the bank, you can go to the, I guess there's no post office there, but you can go to the UPS store if you want, if you got to ship something. So Nocatee is geared around golf carts. Beacon Lake is not. I guess you may be able to get across over the beach walk some ways. I'm not sure how that works. I'm not sure if, you know, where the legalities and all that kind of thing are. So people do drive golf carts here in Beacon Lake. It would be pretty easy to get over to the public, so you don't have to go on the main road or anything like that. But officially, Beacon Lake is not a golf cart community, and Nocatee definitely is. The next question is, do you find that you have to go to Nocatee often for events, sports, kids, etc.? Us, no. Sports, my daughter played volleyball, and we were part of a local club called Skyline, and their facilities are up a little bit more in Jacksonville. There's JJVA. There's a lot of volleyball things around. If they're in gymnastics, there might be something nearby. If they're in dance, there's going to be something, some other place you go. Nocatee does have sports fields, but I imagine if you're in soccer or some other flag football or other sports, you may be using fields in Nocatee, but you could be using fields over in Veterans Park and in just different places. So I guess one, you'd probably find the sport in the league that has facilities near you, if that's the goal, is convenience. And that could be in Nocatee, but it could be other places as well. My kids are 18 and 20, and they drive themselves everywhere anyway, so that's not really a big deal anymore. My Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym is like a 3-minute drive from here. It's super, super close. So super convenient for me. And then how often we go to Nocatee? There's some restaurants we like in Nocatee. There's some, there's a big Publix in Nocatee. that my wife likes to go to sometimes, but we do have a Publix right here in Beacon Lake, or just on the outskirts of Beacon Lake as well. So there's not really any need to go to Nocatee, but just like if you had a favorite restaurant or a favorite something that was in Nocatee, or maybe it's up in Jacksonville or whatever, then yeah, for those reasons, there's good reason to go to Nocatee. But one area that's really built up, it's called the Fountains, and it is at like 95 and 210, and that's where for a while it was just like Grumpy's restaurant. It's a great breakfast place. If I'm see a little like stuffed right now, that I had breakfast there with some people this morning, getting all out of breath thinking about it. There's Grumpy's, there's an Indian place in there, there's a really good Mexican place in there, there's a Brazilian grill opening up, there's a European deli, there's all kinds of stuff in there, a lot of like Indian options, and it's just a really good option like for restaurants. We go over to Nocatee, and right across the street we've got some stuff opening up in Beach Walk as well. So you know, arguably Nocatee has a lot of options in Nocatee, but I'm sure a lot of times Nocatee people want to come outside of Nocatee and go over to Grumpy's or go over to some of these restaurants that we're actually closer to here in Beacon Lake. So that one's a bit of a wash. Definitely reasons to go into Nocatee, and Nocatee has reasons to come out of Nocatee as well. But I'm pretty sure you could just live in Nocatee and take your golf cart and live there pretty comfortably for the most part. All right, the next question is, are there homes available in Beacon Lake or new homes now? So absolutely, there are resale homes available in Beacon Lake, and I can help you with that. And actually right here, this is a house that I'm helping some buyers build. I'm not swinging a hammer or anything like that, but you know, helping deal with the builders and negotiate and all that good stuff, and then actually coming out and checking on things. I'm not a home inspector, but we have an amazing home inspector. So I got some noise going on here, who's really helped in this process, really caught a few things that may have caused stair squeaks and may have caused some issues for the buyers later. The builders fixed up the stuff that needed fixing, so a great home inspector, and then someone advocating with you and for you, super important. But all that being said, yes, absolutely, there are homes available. This one's out here. It's got beautiful preserve backyard. This is a Stockton by Dreamfinder's Home. We've got gas stub out here so they can have their gas grill out here. Master bedroom downstairs. See their shower going in here. Let me turn this around. Give you a little look at what's happening in here, as I'm here anyways. This is a pretty nice big open plan, and then a cool little kitchen area right here. Venting to the outside. So anyways, absolutely, there's resales. There were resales, quite a few. I've got 2 for sale in here. One's in the gated section that Toll Brothers built. It's a pool home. It's amazing. That's as of I'm shooting this today. Hopefully they're not here by the time everyone's watching it. And I've got another one that is a really cool floor plan with the master bedroom upstairs with a balcony off of it, and it looks out over preserve and a lake, and it faces, the backyard faces sort of west, so you get the sunset. So really nice as well, but that's a really cool 2,500 square foot plan. Anyways, all that to say that, yeah, there's some really cool resales. There are new constructions. Toll Brothers building here, Dreamfinder's building here, Mattamy built here in the beginning. They haven't built here since phase 1. But anyways, good options back here. Of course, Nocatee, as you know, has they have new builds. They have resales as well, and there's about 5 or 6 builders that build in Nocatee, and they're all amazing. They're all super solid builders, but we could talk about that another time as well. So that took a long time to answer this question, didn't it? Let me see what the next one is here. All right, questions 5 and 6 I'll do together. Question 5 isn't really a question, so I've been monitoring Nocatee, and I just feel like the prices are insane. And I guess the response to that is price is only a problem in the absence of value. And for a lot of people, Nocatee has the value. If having a golf cart community with spray parks and splash parks and lazy rivers and multiple community pools and commercial stuff that you can get to really easy, and being close to the beach and all those things are super important to you, then, you know, Nocatee is still good value in that sense. And if Nocatee holds its price point, then, you know, in the long run, you still come out okay, you know. So it's kind of like Beach Walk across the street here. The fees are really, really high. Because you have the lagoon fee and the CDDs and the HOA and all the things together, it comes out really high. But for a lot of people, they're looking for that club lifestyle. They're looking for having the restaurant on site and all those types of things. And for them, again, price is only a problem in the absence of value. The value is there for them. So I guess it kind of depends on everyone's individual needs. I'm a big fan of Nocatee. I recommend Nocatee to a lot of people. But if you're looking for a little bit more of a more value price point, then 100%. Beacon Lake, in my opinion, is undervalued right now. And I'll tell you why. The longest, well, first of all, location's amazing. So we're right between 95 and US 1. And so if there's a backup on 95, usually we can get to US 1 and get around that. Location super central, it's amazing, and there's a lot of new commercial stuff coming into the area. Like I mentioned, the fountains earlier, so many dining options just in that one plaza. And once Kilwins and BurgerFi and the Italian restaurant and Margaritaville and everything opens up across in Beach Walk, we're gonna have the option of going to 210. We'll have the option of going across the street to Beach Walk, and we still got the option of going to Nocatee. It's like, you know, 7 or 8 minutes for me to drive over to Nocatee to a lot of the stuff there. So that is still an option. So that's coming up. But the biggest thing for me, the biggest value for Beacon Lake right now, and why I think it's underpriced, you know, Nocatee, you're 300 plus ish. You can get some houses at like 280s a foot, somewhere in there, but really running 300 bucks a foot, 310 bucks a foot maybe. Here in Beacon Lake, you know, 250 bucks a foot, 240 to 260 bucks a foot for very similar product. And then maybe in the gated section, you're 310 bucks a foot. So for dollar, pound for pound, this is a much better option as far as your price per foot goes for the house, if the house is just important to you and the amenities, all things being equal. But the biggest reason that I think that this is undervalued and should only go up from here is the school situation. I mentioned before, my kids, when we moved to Nocatee, they went to Ocean Palms and Landrum, and that was a bit of a drive. Not a big deal, but a bit of a drive, especially if you're not putting your kids on the bus. If you're putting your kids on the bus, it was a bit of a drive. You know, have your kindergartner to drive from Nocatee, cross over the Intracoastal Waterway, and go up to Palm Valley, Ocean Palms, sorry, in Landrum. That's actually the neighborhood that these schools are zoned for right now. So it's a pretty far drive for parents or to put your kid on the bus. Like, that's just the way it is. And I would say when I had families, I was showing the area and showing them Beacon Lake, probably 75% of the time that they decided, no, we don't want Beacon Lake, it was a school situation. They didn't want to put their kindergartner on the bus for 30, 40 minutes every morning. Like, it just didn't make sense for them. Well, the good news is we've got a brand new K-8 opening up here in the neighborhood this year in 2024 in August. So really excited for that. We're going to be the Lakeside, could be called Lakeside Academy, and it's amazing. I can't wait for that to open up. And in my opinion, it's only going to bring our values up. So super excited for that. So yeah, Nocatee looks like pretty expensive right now in comparison to the other neighborhoods, but it has a ton to offer as well. And I believe that the values will still hold in there too. It's getting close to being built out as well. So soon it's only going to be resales, and that's just going to help the resales when they're not competing against the builders. So I don't think you can go wrong either way. I just think that, well, recognize with you that Nocatee's prices are significantly higher than Beacon Lake or even, Shearwater and a lot of the other neighborhoods. But there's value to it as well. So do you think Beacon Lake values will hold like Nocatee or more risk? Like I said, I believe that Beacon Lake, I don't think will ever be pound for pound as high as Nocatee because they just have more going on. But like I said, I think Beacon Lake is primed and ready to see some increase in value. Okay, a couple school questions here. And so I am actually here in front of what we call Lakeside Academy here. And let me look up these school questions. There were a couple. I'm getting out of order a little bit, but you guys don't know that. Okay, is Beacon Lake Beach Walk High School, how does that stack up against Nice? And then I believe a new K through 8 is coming. Is that for the 2025 school year? Let's do that one first. Check it out. There we go. This is the new Lakeside High School. Brand spanking new. And yeah, it's set to open this April, it's April now, this August. So August of 2024 for the 24-25 school year. Really, really excited for this, man. This is a difference maker. It's a game changer for Beacon Lake. It's going to be amazing. The other question about Beachside, the Beach Walk High School, it's called Beachside High School. And yeah, so Beacon Lake is zoned for that. Both my kids attended Nice High School. My son graduated from Nice a couple years ago. My daughter's at Nice currently. She did not transfer over to Beachside, and it's because she's in an academy called Communications, and she's in the digital design portion of that. Every high school in St. Johns County has different academies, and academies are basically an elective. It's a specialization that you can take throughout your high school career, just to sort of explore different employment opportunities, maybe get some experience in things. I know, for instance, she's in digital design, and so she's got her certification for Photoshop and Illustrator and InDesign and some of those Adobe products. There's an engineering at Nice. There is interbaccalaureate. There is Navy ROTC. And the other side of the Communications Academy, I think, is television production. So there's a television production option over there too. And so if you're in an academy, you can go to, if you get into the academy, you can go to any school. You just have to take care of transportation. Well, she drives. Transportation's really easy for here, so it was a no-brainer for her just to stay at Nice. I will say, when my son graduated Nice, they had almost 1,000 kids in their graduating class. It was a really crowded school at the time. And since he graduated, Tukoi had opened up, but they didn't have a senior year the first year. And so since he's graduated, they've had a senior class, a full school, and now Beachside is open. They're in their second year, so they have a senior class this year as well. So my daughter's graduating class, which is happening May 21st, is coming up. I've turned 50, and my daughter graduates on the same day, May 21st, 2024. Excited and happy and sad and all of that kind of stuff. But her class is going to be much, much smaller, thankfully, because a couple much needed high schools opened up in the area. Nice is pretty old, definitely shows some age, but on the other side of it, this neighborhood again is brand new high school. That's had some struggles as well. I think they opened before maybe like I don't know if their gym was quite ready yet, like the weight room. There was just some delays on certain things, as you know, construction goes these days. So maybe it wasn't completely as finished as it could have been when it actually opened. But I imagine by, this coming school year, it'll be the third year, a lot of the kinks will be worked out and it'll be good to go. So anyways, yeah, Nice High School used to be zoned here. Now sorry, right now Nocatee is zoned for Nice. Again, amazing school. Both my kids came up through Nice. We chose to keep our daughter at Nice when she had the opportunity to go over here to Beachside as well. Beachside has some cool academies. They've got veterinary, which is super cool. They've got, I think, logistics, and they got a bunch of other ones too. I can't remember what they all are. Maybe, I don't know if they have hospitality, but the logistics and the veterinary are coming to mind. And those are brand new. I don't know other high schools that offer those in the area. So great opportunity over at Beachside High. All right, that was question 9 and 10 talking about the schools. Question 8 was actually a little bit more for these guys' situation. So we're gonna hop down to 11. And question 11 says, how do you like Shearwater? What's that compared? Do you like how I just assume what his tone is? How do you like Shearwater? How's that compared to Nocatee and Beacon Lake? Man, I like Shearwater a lot as well. It's a good, I would say, it probably, well, I would say it's 100% got a better gym than both Nocatee and Beacon Lake, maybe put together. The gym's really sweet there. They have 5 Har-Tru tennis courts. They have a cool like workout room with like screens where you can pick like group fitness type classes. And I know there's a pretty active Facebook group for people to meet up and do some of that kind of thing. They have a really cool high intensity workout training sort of cycle thing in there. Just, they have a place where you can, I don't think it's supervised, but a room where you can bring your kids and they can hang out while you're working out. So man, I love Shearwater's gym. Nocatee's gym is not nearly big enough for the size of Nocatee, not even close. That said, I just don't know if because of that, I don't know how crowded it typically is. When I've done tours and I go in there, it's never packed out. So obviously it's adequate for what it's doing, but I don't know if that's because it's just potentially so overcrowded, people just do other things. Beacon Lake's gym gets a little crowded in the mornings, maybe sometimes after work, but not crazy crowded. It's smallish but adequate. I've never had a problem in there. My son works out a lot of mornings at 5:30 in the morning, and he doesn't have any complaints. He says there may be like 8 people in there or something like that. But Shearwater definitely has the best gym of any of these neighborhoods, in my opinion, in St. Johns County. So if the gym is the most important thing to you, then Shearwater's amazing. Shearwater has a lazy river. They've got a cool pool area. They don't really, Beacon Lake doesn't really have restaurant at all. Something opens once in a while in the summers, but it's not consistent. Hopefully it happens again this summer. I think they called it Patriot Pizza last time. We've had a couple different companies come through and do food. Nocatee, of course, has food at the amenity centers, at the spray park. They've got the cool tiki hut with the bar and that sort of thing at the splash park, and so Nocatee has a lot of options for that. And then Shearwater's kind of in the middle. If you're hanging out by the pool, I think they've got sort of like hot dogs and sandwiches and more snacky type food available. Thinking about Shearwater, just the feel in general. Beacon Lakes kind of has a northeastern nautical sort of feel. Nocatee depends on where you're at. Greenleaf versus 20 Mile versus Crosswater versus Seabrook. Seabrook's kind of Key West. I don't know what you call 20 Mile. It's just a nice clean look. Crosswater is kind of Americana. Greenleaf is, yeah, again, I don't know what to call it. They all have their own look and feel. I would say Shearwater has sort of a natural look to it. Like a lot of the parks, the slide isn't a ladder you climb up. You go up a hill, and then there's a slide down the hill, sort of thing. So it has more of a naturey kind of feel to it. Nocatee and Shearwater both have legit sort of walking, hiking trails, and both have legit areas where you can launch a kayak and actually go someplace super interesting. Trout Creek? Yeah, Trout Creek in Shearwater, and technically you could paddle that out to the St. Johns River. Here in Nocatee, at the Nocatee Landing, you can stick your kayak out there and go out to on the Intracoastal Waterway. And then there's another nearby, there's another place we can launch out onto the Intracoastal Waterway. A lot of options for kayaking and kayak fishing there. Here in Beacon Lake, you can go out on the big 43-acre rec lake. but it's not going to be like a natural, it's a man-made lake. It's big, it's pretty cool. I see a lot of people paddle boarding. I've seen a couple little mini sailboats out there, but it's, if you're looking for like that natural waterway type experience, then Shearwater and Nocatee could be your best bet there. Price wise, I find that for the most part, Shearwater and Beacon Lake sort of track on pricing, where if I'm trying to sell something here in Beacon Lake and someone decides not to buy, and I follow up and say, hey, where did your buyers end up buying? A lot of times it's Shearwater, and vice versa. So there is kind of some trade-off back and forth. Location-wise, I like Beacon Lake. I like where we're at between 95 and Phillips, or US 1. I think it's just a great location strategically. Shearwater's pretty good location, and the biggest downfall I think of Shearwater, big neighborhood. It's bigger than Beacon Lake, smaller than Nocatee, but there was only one way in and one way out into the neighborhood. You had to go in off of 210. That was the only way in and out. With the new school opening up, they actually have 2 new entrances that go on off of kind of that 16 area down on the more southern part of the neighborhood. So there's more options now. And the other problem was there was one way in, one way out, no traffic light. And it was a big mess. They put the traffic light in, amazing, but then there was a 2-lane road, so 1 lane each direction, and it would just back up depending on the time of day, which direction it was backing up. Work is in progress. It's getting close to completion. I don't have the date on it, but they're widening that out as well. And that's going to be a game changer for Shearwater, I think, just for the access. So Shearwater is a really cool neighborhood. Not as close to the beach, not as central, has a great feel to it. A lot of good options in there with builders, a lot of good options in there with resales. So definitely something to consider depending on your goals. All right, how does Beacon Lake stack up against Seabrook Village? And at first I read this, I'm like, man, they're completely different animals. One's Nocatee, one's not Nocatee, right? And then I started thinking a little bit. I'm like, actually, well, you could look at it too, is if you look at Seabrook in a vacuum, it's a neighborhood area. It has a couple different sections, has like Coral Ridge, it has a gated section. It has Palm Crest, like Beacon Lake. We have a gated section. We have a townhome section, and we have a few different phases where the look and feel and size of the homes actually change a good bit. We've got some on the big rec lake, so there's a lot of kind of different options in there. And then Seabrook has that same sort of thing, right? They have the main Seabrook Village, the first phase right now, and they're going to open up another chunk of it. We have an amenity center here in Beacon Lake, and Seabrook Village has an amenity center coming in as well. It's going to be the largest of the sort of satellite water parks that Nocatee puts in different sections and different areas. And then, well, Beacon Lake has its own school. Well, Seabrook's also going to have its own school, I think. I don't know if it's slated for 25-26 or 26-27, but they have a neighborhood coming soon, or a school coming in the neighborhood as well. So right now, I think Beacon Lake is the more established play, and it's the more value play. Seabrook, there are some good value that the builders are offering in there right now in Seabrook Village. So Seabrook is maybe the good pioneer play where it's not built out yet, but it's coming. The amenity center is not there yet, but it's coming. The school's not there yet, but it's coming. And I have seen things for just, a little under that $300 a foot kind of mark. So there may be some options in there too. So Seabrook Village versus Beacon Lake. Again, everything depends on what you're looking for. Beacon Lake's a little more finished and ready now. But if you've got, like if you're not going to need the schools for, 3 years or something like that, then maybe Seabrook's a good plan, and you can enjoy the schools when they're up and running. But anyway, that's just my thoughts on Seabrook versus Beacon Lake. All right, a couple bonus questions, and then I'm going to skip back. He had a traffic question, but I want to shoot that in a different area. So it says, question 14, how does Dreamfinders stack up against Toll Brothers? I don't know much about Dreamfinders, and of course, no Toll Brothers. I believe Toll Brothers is also gated, whereas Dreamfinders isn't. Great question. Toll Brothers does have gated. They're almost sold out. If they're not sold out, I want to say on Loose Drive, maybe there's 4 or 5 listings left, probably closer to 4 left in the gated section. I've got a nice resale in the gated section right now, and it's a beautiful home on Preserve with a pool. But so Toll Brothers is building in the gated section. Dreamfinders does not have a gated section in here, but they're both building in here, and they're both building in phase. Gosh, I hate the way they did the phases in here. It would be nice if it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but instead it's like 1, 2, 3A, 3B, 3C, and then 4. So whatever phase they're building right now for Dreamfinders, when you go into that section, actually, just looking at my window over here, that's actually Dreamfinders to the right, Dreamfinders phase 3 point whatever, and to the left you can see some Toll Brothers same phase. And so if you see like Daymark, that's when you go to the left in that section, you're going to be Toll Brothers. If you see Stargaze, where you go to the right, that's going to be Dreamfinders homes back there. So differences, Dreamfinders is more value as far as it's going to be your less expensive option. You're going to pay less money for the house. Toll Brothers is going to cost more. That makes sense. If one's less, the other one's more. As far as quality of construction goes, so much does depend on who your super is. Cody, the super over here for Toll Brothers, is amazing. Had a couple builds with him there, and he's done such a good job. And man, I've had some good builds over here of Daryl and with Dreamfinders as well. So, you know, it's a lot of it, in my opinion, is based on, well, what's the floor plan that you like? What are the options available? Can you get your house built the way you want it? The feel that you want it? Can you have the high ceilings, that kind of thing? And then how is the builder going to respond when there's issues? And so I would say Toll Brothers has the edge right now in responding to problems and issues when things come up. Any builder is going to have problems. We're going to bring an inspector in there. We're going to inspect the crap out of that thing. And when you go to the builder and say, hey, we want XYZ fixed, Toll Brothers is going to be more likely, more willing, more enthusiastic in response, where with Dreamfinders, with some things, if things are code, we'll get more no's, and just maybe a little more, we might have to push a little bit harder to get some things done in there. That said, I've had 2 people recently build with Dreamfinders in here, and both of them, when they did their survey at the end, they gave it 5 stars. They were 5 out of 5 for construction. So they were obviously very happy. And just had a Toll Brothers close in here a couple weeks ago, and they checked the 10 out of 10 for the first question on there. I can't remember what theirs is. It's like, would you recommend Toll Brothers to a friend or family? And they checked yes on that. And that's the reflection on the builder and kind of the whole team and process in general. So the last 3 builds I've had in here, everyone has checked 10 out of 10 or 5 out of 5 or whatever happens to be. And then have one we looked at right now. We had a pretty extensive inspection with that one. We had a little pushback on a few things, but in the end, ultimately, the buyers are pretty happy with how things are going, and we've got good communication, and everything is rolling forward. And I expect that they'll be able to check the 5 out of 5 on that as well. But anyways, that's so Toll Brothers maybe has a bit of edge on response and the enthusiasm of making corrections and repairs, where Dreamfinders still can build a great home where your buyers are very happy. But I would, if price wasn't an option, I'd be leaning towards Toll in here. But again, it's going back to what's the floor plan. I live in a Dreamfinders home. I live in a Boca 2. I absolutely love it. My wife absolutely loves it. And I can't think of a better floor plan for my family than the Boca 2. And so if we were building in here again, I would probably build that same floor plan. So yeah, everything depends on what your needs are. All right, I'll answer one more of these questions while I'm in here, and I kind of just sort of gave away a bit of an answer. But question 15, in Beacon Lake, is there a more sought after model? Like in Nocatee, there's the fan favorites. Does Beacon Lake have the same? And again, yeah, well, you have the ones that just sell more, right? So with Dreamfinders, it's the Boca 2. It's an amazing, well, the Boca without the upstairs is called the Boca 1, is a single level plan. It's like 2750 square feet. It can be done as a 3 bedroom, 3 bath, 4 bedroom, 3 bath, depending on how you configure things. And then when you put the upstairs on, you become a 4-4 or a 5-4. And then even another bedroom they can put upstairs now too, which wasn't an option when I built. So you can do a pretty big house with that one. And just, I love the floor plan. I love the way it flows. It's amazing. The Volano is super popular with Dreamfinders. It's a 2,500 square foot master up, has a balcony off the back, which is situationally very, very cool. And then, gosh, they always have models of the Stockton. That's the one I just showed you. It has the owner suite down, the little kitchen area, then upstairs has a loft, and you can have 2 or 3 bedrooms. I always recommend building it with the 3 bedrooms upstairs. They're a little smaller, but the 3 bedrooms has a lot of value compared to going with the 2 bedrooms, in my opinion. And then, yeah, Toll Brothers. Oh gosh, I always have a trouble remembering what the names of all the floor plans are in here, because Toll Brothers, you change them up on me all the time. But there's the Luke was one of the models, super popular floor plan, and then they've got like sort of their smaller plans, and then they got their great big 4,500 square foot plans as well. And I am drawing a blank, to be perfectly honest, on a lot of the names of the Toll Brothers plans. So yes, absolutely, there are fan favorites, and I can dig that info up for you, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. But Toll does have a lot of plans where you have big, bold, kind of spacious areas too. So definitely fan favorites, but in the end, what you like, you know, one of the ones that they've only sold 2 or 3 of, maybe your favorite and maybe what you guys are looking for. But anyways, hopefully that helps. I know I've got at least 1 or 2 more questions, so I'm going to go to a different location to answer the next one. I think I might have missed one question here, but anyways, at least one more here, and it says, where are we here? Gosh, where did it go? It was something about traffic, and anyways, so the question is along the lines of, oh, here we go. Online said that traffic at Beacon Lake is terrible, but relief is coming. Any idea what they are referencing? Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just walking out here off Hutchinson and show you down here. This is Beacon Lake Parkway. So this, the main entrance is there. And then up there's the amenity center. There's a circle. And if you hung to the right, it would go out to the other entrance to Beacon Lake out by Publix and the townhomes. But going down this way, let me turn around. So behind me here, when you go down here, you go to the entrance by the big lighthouse, by the big beacon. If you go to the left, if you go to the right, it goes over to Nocatee. Not usually too much trouble there. You can go to the right, and that'll get you where you can go south down to St. Augustine, or you can go to the left, and that's going towards 95. I honestly sometimes right now, I call it traffic roulette, because when I'm making that left, I never know if it's going to be 5 minutes or it's going to be 25 minutes. And that is because ever since the new high school opened up, that's brought a lot of traffic. And when you get past Beach Walk, you go to the left, you go past the Beach Walk entrances, before you get to 95, it cuts down to 2 lanes again. And so you've got this bottleneck type thing happening. And then when you get down by the highway, you've got some truck stops, and then, yeah, absolutely. This time of day, no problem at all. I just drove down there, did a U-turn, came back up here. There's no traffic at all whatsoever. But come, gosh, maybe 4 o'clock in the afternoon, sometimes going west, And then 8:30 in the morning, coming back east, coming this way from 95, it really backs up as well. And it's just a matter of going down to a 2-lane road. Now, the county has already got the roads dug up. They're already started widening it right there. And so once that widens out to 4 lanes, I think that'll take care of the problem for the most part. I mean, it makes sense to me. You get rid of the bottleneck. So yes, the fix is in the works, and I think it will be effective. But right now, there are a couple times a day where we have to play traffic roulette and deal with the traffic there. But anyways, that's 13 or 14, maybe 15 questions, maybe 14 questions that y'all have asked me. So answer them. If you have more questions, well, this is just one particular family that we're asking these questions. But if you're out there, and I can't see you there, but if you have questions that you would like me to answer and put a video together for you as well, just hit me in the comments, or hit my phone number right there and send me a text or a call. Or, well, you can figure this out. You know how to get a hold of me. Also, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It lets me know that there's people out there watching this stuff. And I know some of you guys have reached out to me as you're looking to buy in this area. And so I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys' trust most of all. But like and subscribe. And yeah, we'll keep doing this stuff and stay classy and all that. And we'll see you on the next one.